Hola, bienvenidos, amigos, familia. My name is Amanda, and my beautiful co-host Yadira's right next to me. Hello. Yes. So we are back finally with another episode. We're gonna share some conversations, some hard truths. This is Cross Meets Culture, so this is where our Spanglish may come in a little bit, English, Spanish, if y'all are comfortable with it.
Of course.
But we really share a lot of our faith, a lot of what's going on in our community and around our area. So we are so excited to have everybody here. We're back. We're ready. Yes. So especially right now during Lent, this is the season where we're really called to reflect and really ask ourselves, where am I in our faith? Especially these last 2 weeks right before we prepare for Easter. So we've got some exciting guests. We'll meet them in just a second.
Yeah. All right. So, like my wonderful co-host said, we do tend to get into some hard truths, some uncomfortable truths, some good conversation, always based in what takes us to the cross, what's most important. And so we're really excited to tackle this subject today because let's be honest, some of us are part of the church, some of us just attend church. You may think that's the same thing, but it's two totally completely different things. And we may choose to sit in the same pew every Sunday. We may choose to know when to stand, when to sit, when to kneel, when to say, and also with you and with your spirit. We know all of that. But do they know us? Does the person next to you know you? And is it just attending? What is going to make us take that extra step beyond Sunday Mass to get us involved, to get us connected to community, to a sense of belonging? And we brought two awesome guests here today that are beyond amazing. Just hearing everything that they're involved in, what they do for our parish, for our community, for their community. And I'm really excited to get into it. So here with us are Kendra and Zabian Ramos.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us on here.
We're really
It was a
excited.
privilege.
And so we are going to talk about the gap between attending and actually belonging. Are y'all ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well,
Let's do it. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so let's start with a couple things. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. So how long have y'all been parishioners? How did y'all get started in getting plugged into the church?
Well, I'm Zabian, and this is my wife, Kendra. We've been married 3 years, going on 4. We got 5 kids, 4 beautiful girls and a boy. And I'm Cradle Catholic, so I think whether it was my will or not, I kind of always been plugged in. My wife, on the other hand, is a convert.
Yes, I came to the church three years ago this Easter.
Beautiful.
And so yeah.
Wow. What made you decide to convert? Well, can I ask what your religion was before?
I was pretty much non-denominational. Yeah. So my mom would take me on like holidays to like Hillside, but really just meeting Zabian and then wanting to raise our family in the faith. I wasn't like against Catholicism or anything. So I mean that made it easier to come in and not be biased. So
That's amazing.
yes.
wow. What a cool journey.
I know.
5 kiddos.
Yeah.
On top of everything else you do here at church, huh? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And their youngest is here with us today. He is over here outside, so we're really excited. So Beast Foley, already getting him involved in our church community. So I guess that kind of answers our next question on what season of life are you in right now? 3 years, so still in the honeymoon phase, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 5 kiddos.
I would say that we have anything figured out. It's a journey.
By day.
What does your life look like outside of church? I know, because sometimes those feel like two separate worlds.
Yeah.
Here, you just go to church and then you go on about your life. Like, how do you commingle those, or what does your life outside of Sunday Mass look like?
Well, I know I'm a UPS truck driver, so that takes a lot of time. It's a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Right now at my work, I'm in a position where I'm blessed to take care of my family.
Yeah.
And my wife, she stays home with the kids and homeschools them.
Yeah.
And so right now, like I said, nothing figured out. It's still very early.
Yeah.
Still very young. And so just in a stage where I'm constantly learning, constantly growing,
Mhm.
you know.
That is awesome.
And not so much like in work necessarily, because he's also at a place where there's not much more growth for his work, but more, I think you're more focused like spiritually as far as like growth goes. But for my own self, like Zabian said before, I am a homeschooling mother, and so that's kind of what I like. It's just done a lot. And then also being a mother of a large family, that's a very big job. So I'm at home and I'm cooking and I'm doing laundry for a large family, and then homeschooling 4 days of the week. So
Oh, wow.
yes.
That's
So-
a very busy plate.
It is. Can you tell us, before we get into all of the nitty-gritty, can you tell us what all you're involved in here at St. Joseph's or at the diocese level? What do you participate in?
Yeah, well, we actually did just get through the men's Acts retreat. I don't know if y'all had heard too much about Acts, but it's basically just a retreat that they set for. It's a Catholic-based retreat, and so they have a men's retreat, women's retreat, and a teen Acts retreat. And I was the director last year, and then this past retreat, 2026, I was the co-director with my father, and he was the director. So it was a blessing to do kind of like a father-son duo. He was the director, I was the co-director. You know, we get a team together, and then we have a max number of 45. I think this last year we had 23 retreats, and so we meet for 13 weeks every Monday. So just planning and really just prayer and team bonding that the retreat and see the Holy Spirit in us. You know, that is something that I just got out of.
Okay.
On top of doing the small groups in the community, in the parish, and then also trying to start our own small groups like the St. Joseph consecration. Just trying to see a need and fill a needs.
Right.
You know.
Do you need how that? Can we trademark that for a t-shirt as producer? Do you need Philony? Put that on there.
We're also catechist and Holy Commission here at the parish as well.
Okay, for kiddos or for parents? Or parents for
the adults. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh gosh. You did the Acts.
I did the women's acts back in October.
Yeah.
And so that's the 13 weeks. That's a lot of commitment, but it's so worth it. So that's amazing. So whenever you did the acts retreat and then you're doing faith formation, so how do y'all balance all that with family? What?
You really gotta prioritize. So obviously when we commit to things like acts, like that is the full on, like we're in prayer mode and are discerned, and so that Zabian can really truly be committed. I mean, you can't just come to a Monday and be like, oh, I don't feel like going, or this is happening with the family and I would really like to be with them, but we've already committed to this, so you've got to go.
Like that, and then just having your schedule planned out.
Yes.
To it, trying not to double book.
Right.
Yes. So when someone tells you, when you ask them, hey, do you want to be a part of this, etc., and they said, you know what, I'd love to, but I'm just really busy right now with work and I've got this going on or that going on. Do you think that is a valid excuse, or do you think it's more so they're not focused on prioritizing their faith in that moment?
I would say it's a valid excuse, only because we don't know the faith journey or like what position they are in their faith journey. And so anybody that ever kind of comes off as like, I don't know, maybe they're questioning, I was just telling them, hey, it's a blessing and it's an opportunity and there's no pressure. It's a gift for you. And whether you receive it or not, you're still loved.
Yeah. So do you, like, let's say that you do have somebody that says, hey, I'm busy, I can't right now. Do you then continue to ask them to be involved, like in a couple months or whatever? Like, how do you have somebody more than just the one time answer? Like, do you ever go back to that person and say, hey, okay, you couldn't do it this month, but we've got something else coming up? How do you approach it that way, or how do you approach it?
It's funny that you say that because I can actually relate.
Really? Have like one person, obviously, thinking about the same person.
Probably. I have a coworker.
Yeah. Zabian's coworker, this is for you.
He's also a Catholic, and I've invited him to the Acts retreat before.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where he's given me, and he hasn't gone to one yet, but he's given me the whole spiel of he's not sure, he's got to work it out, the schedule, it's a 3-day commitment, so
Right.
it's a big commitment, and I always tell him, I'm like, hey brother, I hope you don't or I hope you're not offended with me asking you again, but the Acts retreat is coming up again, and some
Gentle.
but I also just kind of like, you feel that pressure of like, you don't want to like, we push away, or push them away. And so I just kind of always just like, hey, come into it lightly. Like, I hope you're not offended, but here's another invite again.
Whether they also like maintain their friendship in like weekly conversations, and then it might also like pop up in the conversation. Yeah, that it came up. Like maybe that's a primer.
Because sometimes you do need that personal invitation, and
Right.
that first time maybe like, oh, I don't know, maybe next time, but the more you're asked or the more you're invited, then I think I'm making up a statistic show. Insert a random statistic here. Statistics show that the more you invite someone, they belong. They get that sense of belonging. I think so. I mean, that should be on a t-shirt too. Exactly. But who knows?
And I feel like it kind of builds up. Yeah. It's like, if you yell back at it, it's like, dang, he's been asking me for so long. And it's like,
Get him off my back.
or, just for them to finally go and just be like, it's all been just for this moment. It's all been for this moment, and it's all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
What initially drew you? I mean, since you were born, you were in the world and Catholicism and participation and belonging, but maybe you, Kendra, what initially drew you in to just participate in more than, becoming a Catholic or converting or just attending mass? Like what drew you into going beyond that?
So in I think 2021, I had a more serious illness, and I was hospitalized for about 8 days. I was pretty like a medically induced coma and whatnot.
Goodness.
So it was pretty it was a pretty serious illness, pretty serious time of my life. And I remember coming out of it thinking, this is like, God is really in control. Like if he wanted to, he could really take my life, So and I wasn't in this coma, but I remember having like prayers and being able to think and whatnot. And so in that, like I just had that realization that God gives me, takes away. And so I remember coming out just thinking that I was really going to pursue Christ. I was really going to pursue him, and I was going to give my life to him because he could have took it then, and if he had taken it then, I don't know where my life would have been for like after, like,
Yeah, right.
So I definitely want to be more prepared for death and for hopefully being reunited with God. So with that, with this making that commitment after the illness, I went to my first Acts retreat. And so from there, spending that time in that weekend, those 2 days, like being really immersed in the sacrament. Obviously I wasn't able to receive yet because I wasn't Catholic yet, but I mean, just going to mass and the liturgy and then adoration and then just the community of these Catholic women and hearing their testimonies and everything, it really changed my life. So from there, I mean, honestly, you get re-immersed back into the world and life outside of that. And I was like, I need to bring what I've learned here in Acts Retreat. I want to bring it home. I want to go to daily mass. I want to be immersed. Just what I experienced in the retreat, I want to experience that outside of the retreat and bring it just more to my everyday life. So, yeah.
So because you want to, I guess, have it in everyday life.
Yes.
Um,
Just weekly. I didn't want to just come
Just
to
not in
mass
mass.
weekly. I don't want to be in the pews in front of Jesus weekly. Like I wanted to experience that every day. And
So for those that say, I'm good. I go to mass every Sunday. I'm there at the same seat. Everyone, they know that is my seat right there. Like, that's enough. I'm good. Thanks, but I'm good.
right.
Yeah.
How do you explain or how do you convince them or open their mind up to them being open that there's more than just mass or it goes beyond mass? Or how do you just talk about your experience with Acts Retreat or Zabian? Like, what would you do in that situation if someone says, I'm good with just Sunday mass? Like, how do you push it?
For me personally, I feel like just realizing how much of a sinner I am and how much, I need God. And you realize, yes, you go to mass and it's wonderful, but, through the week, sometimes we run out of gas, sometimes we run out of love. Sometimes our cups needs to be refilled. And with the sorrows of life, you never know what's going to happen. And so the more you can be immersed and prepared for the sorrows of life and for unchanging, or for changing events, things that are unexpected, there's more for you. You know, there's more than just Mass. You know, Mass is great in everything that it has. It's a necessity for salvation, but there's more for you, more gifts, more love,
Wait,
more strength.
just like leading by example more so, like,
Mm.
yeah, just living by example. And then hopefully they can see our lives and what are they doing? Well, daily mass. Oh, okay, maybe I'll start going to daily mass. So
Being a disciple without really thinking about it.
yeah.
That's amazing. So how did y'all go from, hey, I want to be involved, hey, I have this call, to getting into being small groups? How did y'all, because y'all became leaders, or were y'all part of small groups? Like, how did that happen?
I think when Father Hector introduced those Lenten small groups was kind of like a big start for us. Like, so I went to my Acts retreat, and then Zabian went to his first men's Acts retreat the following year in February. And so from there, we really were starting to get to know the Acts community, and then getting to know the Act community that's actually within our own parish. And they started the Lenten group that was specifically for our Acts or Act community in our parish. And so we were going to join that one. That one got too full, and so we basically started our own.
A good time to have. Sure, yeah. So, but yeah, which is kind of like our own, because we also did a small group. Amanda's still in a small group. They've gone through several books and book studies and everything. Yeah, they will join like a gay. Yes, but this I can't tempt. I can't right now. Too busy. What did you just talk about? Yeah, I'm gonna keep asking. Don't worry. Pot kettle over here. I know. I see it. I hear it. It's like this was made for my ears today.
You're good.
But yeah, it was when Father Hector introduced the small groups, and I don't know if every parish in our diocese has small groups. It was never here in St. Joseph's before. And like you, I mean, you connect with people you maybe see in Mass, but I think at that point you just reached out to the parish and said, "Hey, I'm interested in small groups," and they kind of divide and conquered, and that's how you kind of started forming little mini communities. Yeah, still connected to them now, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
And really, you just have to take that initial jump. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Another one. No. I like it. That's hard.
It's full of them, y'all.
Do you ever stop and think, like, is there a specific thing that maybe almost stopped you from going all in or participating in that particular small group, or saying, oh, I'm just too uncomfortable, I'm too shy, or something that you can pinpoint that says that could have been the one thing that maybe turned me away?
One thing, and I don't know how you felt about it, but just being super young, and feeling like maybe we're not going to be respected or not belong. Which I feel like everybody has that fear of not belonging in their own way,
Yeah.
But I think that was more mine specifically, is just like, and maybe different as a man as well, because coming into it, you don't want to disrespect anybody. You don't want to be disrespected yourself. You want to come into it with an open heart. And that's the only way to come into it, really, is just selfless and just with your walls down and ready to receive with faith in God and not in people, what he's going to do for you or in what you could do for others in the group.
What about you, Kendra?
I don't think I had necessarily any fears. I've always kind of just been a people person. I'm ready to do the next thing. Ready to be in the next group. Ready to do anything.
I'm pretty sure she was like, let's go. And y'all was,
Everyone's like, no, it's a big group. I don't know. But I've always been prepared, or not prepared, but just ready. Yes. If you call me, I'm ready. I'm there.
Oh, good.
Called to serve.
Very much so.
That is awesome, because I think what you said, Zabian, hit home, because I don't have a shy bone in my body ever. I can talk to a wall and they would, give me a response, I'm sure, after some point. Like, yo, girl, ya, córtale. Pero I think I had been coming here for, a few years before I ever even got involved in anything beyond coming to Mass every Sunday. And I think it was just that initial invitation. And even then it was like, I'm more personally of like, I keep areas in my life like separate. Like, okay, I've got my church life, I've got my work, I've got my, weekend shenanigans, or I got, all this other stuff point in my life. And so once you get over that, like, you have to be uncomfortable outside of your comfort zone, or whatever the one-liner you just said earlier,
We'll go back. We'll reference it.
Yes, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I am very much a controlled person. Like, I hate surprises. I hate the unknown. I have to have things ABC and plan and all this other stuff. And just letting someone into another part of my life, it was just like, oh, I was a little hesitant. But then Amanda was like, hey, small group here, or hey, we should be on this committee, or hey, have you ever thought of, and then boom, all in. So surprise. And it's been great though, so if anything, if you were part of church life since you were little, if you are a converted Catholic, if you don't know whether to take that first step, I mean, get outside of your comfort zone and go all in one thing, and the rest is, it's good.
Yeah. What do you recommend for people that are going to church, that are here, but they really don't know how to get connected? Like, well, how would you recommend that they get started? What would be like step one?
Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
there's somebody you don't interrupt after mass. Just introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So many times I feel like it's a small group whenever people gather outside of mass. Yep. And just it's such a blessing to have greeters and to, wish people a blessed week whenever they leave. And, if you're coming to mass and you're participating in mass every Sunday, introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know.
Right.
And you'd be surprised in what they're involved in. And just to introduce yourself to people in the parish and realize that the parish does have small groups and opportunities for you that you didn't see there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce yourself.
That's true.
What would you do?
So I was voluntold. That's how I got involved. I remember Father Hector asked me about getting on a committee, and I was like, because at that point I was very much like I'm going to go to mass. I'm going to sit in the back. I'm not going to talk to anybody, which I'm talkative now. But at the time I was like, no. I was very shy. And so I kind of got voluntold, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell a priest no, right? Like, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like I fell in love with it. And so I remember talking to Father Hector about small groups, because I had been part of the Columbiates, which I don't know if y'all ever knew what that was, but it was like it was kind of like the women's version of a Knights of Columbus at a different parish. Girl,
Wait a minute. Well, I know. I've always wanted to, in my mind, but we're Knight of Columbus.
That's the fancy hat lady thing. It was, but it's not as exciting.
And I do one day, one of these days.
But I remember being a part of that, and I love the small group atmosphere. And they and I are kind of opposite. So I'm shyer, like more of a reserved person. You wouldn't know that knowing me now, but I always have been. And so the idea of like going to a random group and like going up to people scared me. No. But again, Father Hector said, no, let's do this. And you can be part of the Eucharistic ministers. And I'm like, I am not worthy. I am not the person to be doing this kind of stuff. But I think that personal, at least for me, or personality, sometimes it's the ask, or sometimes it's the very gentle but strong urge to say yes.
Yeah.
That really makes a difference. So kind of like introducing yourselves. And there's so many different ways of, if you feel like you're just like going to mass and it's just like a routine, take the risk and contact the parish, contact one of us. I'm sure somebody can get you plugged in, because if you've got like an inkling, I feel like, to do any sort of connections or small groups, then go for it, because I think all of us can really attest to what a positive impact it has made, not just in our faith life, of course, but like it goes into everything else. It really, you branch out and you make so many beautiful connections. So I'm off my soapbox. Yeah, but though.
No, because I mean, do we agree or disagree that faith was never meant to be lived alone?
Agree.
I mean,
For sure.
faith was not meant to be lived alone. Jarrett, talk about it. And I mean, does someone have to have their life together or be all, prim and proper to be able to participate in a ministry? I think if I was new to Catholicism or to the church, I'd be like, no, míralos, they have their life together, right? They're all holier than thou. They probably never sin as much as I do. And, I was over there doing shenanigans, so, I better not go. I'm not ready yet. I'm not clean enough. I'm not, my sins are bigger or whatever. Like, I think that's maybe a misconception that people have, but do you have to have your life together to be part of a small group or a ministry?
Of course not. Of course not. So many people think that you have to come clean, but it's the process that makes you clean. Yes, it's the journey that you fall in love with, and it grows. You know, the well overflows as you go deeper into, like being uncomfortable and into, meeting new people, serving in new ways, and just. It grows. It grows. And like you said, it's a surprise always. It's a surprise always on what God has in store for you.
And I love that statement you just said, the well overflows. I mean, if you come to mass and yes, you maybe you get your fill of like, oh, Father said something amazing in his homily that hit home, you know? Like you think about it, like, wow, que hermoso, que bonito, me quedó, it fit, you know? And then throughout the week, you find yourself getting a little thirsty and your well's kind of maybe halfway full, but you come to mass again and it kind of fills up a little bit. But just imagine it overflowing to where you don't have to worry about filling it. Like it's always flowing. You're not going to be thirsty. And if you're, thirsty, you've got someone that's going to pour into you again and again throughout the week, throughout troubles and what you're going through in life. Because I think you come to mass and you sit and listen. You don't really participate in dialogue with, I mean, I know Father Gabriel's not going to be able to sit there and say, hey, what's going on in your life in the middle of mass, but sometimes you need that one-on-one with someone that maybe can share their insight or
when you make that community.
Yeah.
It really makes a big difference. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you need your well to overflow.
For sure.
I like them. Put that on a t-shirt too. One-liners
by Zabian Ramos.
What has one-liners coming to you soon?
That's so funny. In our Acts group, Zabian drops stuff like that all the time. It's crazy. Literally, they were like, we need to create a website. We're just going to call it Zabian.com. And we're his, what are you? But so,
that will promote everything. You could monetize that.
Yeah. Honestly, not
forgot.
That's a classic. That's one.
For Jesus. It's for the Lord. Do it for Jesus.
Off the center.
I love you all are. Okay, well, let's get into maybe life, young parents. You're young parents. You're young. You said maybe that was a hesitation into participating a lot, or getting involved, or maybe being looked as like, oh, they're young, or we're not going to disclose their age, because I'm not going to disclose my age. I'll say 29 forever.
I'm only 20. I've known myself.
Well, by hair it is. But as young parents, why is being connected to your parish important for your family? I mean, you do it for your soul or your own self and stuff, but why is it? Do you think it's important for your family, one? And if so, why?
Of course, it's important for your family. It's most important for my family. It's one of those things to where, in the moment, I can receive a blessing knowing that I'm doing the will of God and that He's in control. And there's so much peace and so much, especially with having the little kids, you're worried about babysitters. You're worried about, if they're going to need this or need that, if they're okay, but really being prayerful about it, being like, okay, Lord, are you calling me to this? Okay, then I'm going to give my time. And so you receive that peace in knowing that you're doing God's will. But on top of that, we're showing our kids how to be, how to be part of the community, how to be part of the parish. 20 years from now, and if they're down in the slums, they can look back and say, what feels like home is, what my parents always did. And they were always serving, in any way that they could find. And so you receive that initial blessing. And then, I mean, you can only imagine the blessings that are going to go on for generations and generations and generations. And so the necessity, I would even say, of participating in your parish and your community as much as you can, especially with having little kids, is, I mean, you can put a price on the blessings, on the worth that it'll go for generations.
Right.
A legacy of faith.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, Miss One-Liker.
It came to me finally. Write it down.
May? Okay, put that on a t-shirt too.
Thank you. Zabian.com. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, man. Let's see, how has it impacts your family, the way you are with your kids, leaving a legacy of faith. How how has it for our newlyweds or people on a journey of walking into faith towards marriage? Has it helped your marriage? Has it strained your marriage? Time commitment, like you're running around doing everything. Like what advice would you give to young couples or young marriages or old marriages? I'm not married. But has it helped? Has it highlighted some areas that need improvement, or what advice would you give in that area?
I mean, having a big, busy schedule and anything is always going to be strained, especially I feel like on a marriage, on a family, because you have to put that time aside for my spouse, for our children and for our family.
But one thing that we took from our engaged encounter before we got married was there was a couple there that was teaching, and one of their one-liner was basically that they're not going to do anything unless it's together as a family. So whether it's like them together, married, they're a couple, or it's them and the children. And so that's kind of something that we've definitely carried with us as far as like, are we going to commit to something? Well, it's got to be definitely we're going to do it together. And not so much like Zabian in one place or I in a different place, and opposite the children in a different place. So, I would say for at least the time, the separating like that, that's what we were committed to. Like we're gonna do it together if we're gonna,
It's gonna add some stress, but that's one thing that's blessed us is being together. It come as a package deal.
yes.
That's so cute. Now that couple goals over here. Yeah. Oh, so now that you guys have, y'all have established yourselves, you've got really strong connections. So moving forward, what are y'all going to be involved in, or what are y'all actively a part of right now? Like, are y'all still doing the Acts small groups? Will y'all do other small groups? Kind of, I know that you did the St. Joseph one in the past, but are y'all looking to create new small groups or continue to kind of flourish with the ones that you have now?
Definitely we want to continue with the ones that we have now. Get back into it, continue to be involved. But I know my wife is looking at me. We've talked about
Zabian's got ideas. He's like, are you gonna
St. Joseph consecration, on a yearly thing and bringing new men into that community, It's so funny because this is our patron saint of the parish, St. Joseph, and so to consecrate yourself to St. Joseph, he's such a powerhouse of a saint, especially for men.
That's quoted from Sterling. Sterling.
Powerhouse of a saint, especially being the pillar of families, even single men, to be the only man worthy to hold baby Jesus, So consecrating to St. Joseph is one thing that I would, you want to go to St. You, I would even say I'm gonna start getting into it.
You said it now.
You heard it here first.
You'll see it come in.
Zabian.com.
Consecrate yourself to St. Joseph, having it be a small group, having it be a blessing, having it be an opportunity, and then something that you can take with you for the rest of your life.
Awesome. That's cool. I love that. Okay, so kind of shifting a little bit, let's talk about maybe an elephant in the room sometimes. And it's not that people or young people don't care about their faith, but they don't maybe fully step into it. So nowadays with TikTok, with all social media, with different opinions readily accessible at your hands, we know that everyone's maybe spiritually curious or have no faith or on the journey to wanting faith. Let's say there's a young person here at St. Joseph's that comes to Mass and they stay on the sidelines. They don't really say hello or introduce themselves. What do you think keeps them, if you had a guess, keeps them at arm's length from participating? Do you think it's just fear of belonging or what?
Yeah, fear of belonging. Different types of fears. Fear of belonging, fear of being rejected, fear of having to give more than what you have. Fear of
Explain that a little more. What do you mean by give more than what you have?
that you be asked to give more than what you have to give. Just you have something that somebody else, your story, your life, your smile, even is going to be a blessing. Yeah, your time is going to be a blessing to somebody, and you can never know who that's going to be, you know? And so just I had different kinds of fears. Other reasons why they might stand on the sidelines is because that's the way it's always been, you know? Me, being a cradle Catholic, I know we see a lot of cradle Catholics are spoiled, you know? They ask us, no, why do you do that? And why do you do that? And it's, oh, my grandma did that. You know, we've done that for generations.
That's what we do. That's just
Well, and so it could just be repetition. You never really got
Going through the
indulged.
same motions.
Yeah, just going through the same motions. Never really considered it. You know, like you said, that initial invite.
Or maybe we also think like we have time, like we can do it next time. We're or maybe when we get old and we're like, I don't know,
Or especially young people thinking that we have time, you know, that we're still young, you know?
we have better time to give our lives.
until you don't.
Right. Yeah.
Until you don't. So how do you think we overcome that? Like what would you say we can do, like as us, you know, we're involved in different aspects of church life. What can we do to help that friction, or help those people that stay on the sidelines? Like, is it just an invitation, or I don't know them, so I don't really know their talents, or where they would feel led to serve or participate in? Like, is it really just a hi?
That reminds me, one time I asked Father Gabriel after Mass, and he had given his homily, and I had asked him, I said, Father, how do we increase our love for God? And he said, why you let God love you. You let him fill your cup, and you return with gratitude back to him, what is rightfully his, and love. So, you know, how do you overcome, you know, how do you grow deeper? How do you give more? You let God give you more. You don't put a cap on his love.
Because God will provide.
That's right. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
On a shack.
Zabian.com. So, so what does finding your place at a church mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you as individuals, and then y'all as a couple?
Finding my place. I would say that finding my place is, you know, like I said it earlier, you see a need and you feel a need, you know? And so recognizing, you know, with the eyes of my heart, seeing with the eyes of my heart where there's a need, that's my place. That's where I serve, you know? It's where I've been called, you know? And so my place in my parish is where I'm needed.
Even though it's something new, something you don't know how to do or what you're getting yourself into, you just go all in. You're the type of that, or just go where you're needed.
And initially, you know, it's a lot of people, you jump in because you want to, you grow more in love, grow more. And so that serving others, you don't really, you realize it whenever you take that initial jump, you know, you jump in to be immersed in God's love. And in that, his love is so much that you have no option but to share it with those around you.
Oh, that's awesome. What would you say to someone who thinks they don't need community outside of Sunday Mass? Like, let's say they're like, okay, I'm good with Sunday Mass. Okay, well, let's share your talent. Like, let's say they don't know what their talent is, or where they could serve, or would it be to reach out to a particular ministry, to participate in a retreat, to just say introduce themselves to someone? Like, let's say I want to serve, but I have no idea. I've said hi to people, but you're like, hey, I'm Yalita, you know, but it doesn't go beyond that. Like, how do I know where I'm being led to serve, or where I'm being called to serve, or where I'm needed, or what would you tell someone in that position?
I don't know. I would say you're not supposed to know. Yeah.
You're not supposed to know.
God works in mysterious,
Yeah,
you know, lights hope.
the invitation to some sort of ministry, I feel like always comes. Like, there's always somebody that the leaders of these different ministries are like, they would be good for this, and so they go and they invite and whatnot. But definitely, just if you feel called, definitely just at least look, you know, see which one and see what opportunities you have, and maybe just go and try. Plug yourself into each one, see where you fit, see what you like. And then definitely, like, God works through those leaders of these different ministries and reaching out and getting people in. So
Well, and then so many times we're reminded that our ways are not God's ways, and our humanness, we're like, this is my talent, or this is where I'm called, or this is
what I want to do.
yeah,
it doesn't work out, but in faith you continue, to stay apart and stay in a service mindset. And then you realize, oh God, look at this blessing that I would have received if I would have had my own way,
Good point. So, and just so you know, every single parish, I can almost 100% guarantee that they have a need. In some way, shape, or form, they have a need. Whether you're an artist and guess what? We need something painted over here. Or, you love to karaoke, sing on the weekends. Well, we're short someone on a choir. Or, there's always a need, whether it's hospitality, family faith formation, men's groups, small group, all kinds. Youth. Let's say you were a teacher and you're no longer a teacher, but you'd miss that. There's become a catechist. I mean, there's so many options that you may not even think about, but reach out to your parish, reach out to your priest, and a 5-minute conversation, I can guarantee you they can point you in the right direction on where they could use your talent or your heart to serve. There's always a need.
Yes. So okay, why is this generation, so our generations, 20, 30, 40-year-olds, why is it so important that they get involved in St. Joseph's? What does that mean for our parish future? What do y'all think that means?
I wouldn't ever worry about like the future of the church because it's in God's hands. But we're missing you, as a body of Christ. We need every member. They're designed for a specific purpose. Like you said, artists, musically talented, even just being a greeter at the door is such a blessing to people that are new, uncomfortable, maybe taking that leap. And so it's so important because God has love for you. You are so important to God. Like nothing else matters. Like you wouldn't imagine, in each and every single one of us individually. And so I just feel like you're not receiving all the love that God wants to give you,
Yeah. Because Sunday Mass can only do so much, right? So we need it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a difference in generations? Like, I know my parents, my grandparents, they were more voluntold. Oh, this is just what we've always done. Me, I did it because my mom did it. Or, nowadays it's like, well, I'm gonna let my kid decide, form their own path or whatever. Do you think it's better now with different generations as they're coming through, or do you think that we're still on the right track with our generation now?
I don't know. That's hard to say. That's hard to say, but I think there's safety in that voluntold, So many times they're like,
they've been obedient. If grandma say go to mass, then I'm gonna go to mass. Abuela te dijo.
so you might not understand it or be able to explain it to somebody else, why you do what you do, but it's still, maybe you're not doing it for the right reason, but it's still the right thing, And so with this new generation, I think that God is calling warriors, He's calling warriors, especially with the time going on, because the people that are coming into the faith, that are converting or taking that leap of faith into growing in love and deepening the relationship with Christ, they're really about it. They're really about it, and they are taking their own steps and they are making their own journey. And along that journey, they're getting stronger than we couldn't even imagine.
I think I read somewhere that mass attendance has grown over the past couple years. I couldn't tell you the percentage wise, but that's what I keep hearing, and I keep reading in different studies that attendance, not just at our parish, which I'm sure y'all have seen it too, but our parish has grown so much. Like even in the past couple years, I think we all go to pretty much different masses, but man, it's cool to look back like from a year ago and 2 years ago to see how many people have really grown. And I've heard that that's nationwide, and that's such a such a cool thing to be a part of right now of not an uprising of Catholicism. That's not necessarily the right term, but just seeing how the passion is coming back into the church. Because I feel like it's normal, right? We go through ebbs and flows of our faith, but it sounds like a lot of young people are really taking an interest. So I think it's really beautiful to see that. Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with leadership and people being outspoken about their faith and their journey and what they've gone through. I mean, starting with our Pope and different, I mean, as past popes that we've had, they focus on different things or are more outspoken about one thing than the other. And like you said, it ebbs and flows, but I think if our willingness to share our testimony, our life, and just being open to sharing your love for Christ, then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
We'll be all right.
Good.
It's in God's hands.
It is.
True. Yeah.
It's all in God's hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that really it's made such a big difference for everyone in this room to be a part of small groups. So we are so thankful that you guys are willing to share your story as a young couple, as a family, to see your perspectives, because we come from such different backgrounds. I hope that this encourages people to get involved and to kind of talk about what we've talked about, stepping out of your comfort zone and really taking that first step of getting a little bit involved, because there's so many different ways, so many different ministries, things that are going on in the parish, like the fiesta that's coming up. There's lots and lots of ways to get involved. Just prayerfully consider getting involved, taking that first little step.
So would you say that's our challenge to our listeners or viewers, right?
Yeah.
Until next time.
Until next time, for sure. So if anything in our conversation has touched you, has sparked a little bit of a, hey, what if, or hey, I'm kind of feeling this way, then we challenge you right now. Don't wait until later when I don't have so much on my plate, or no, right now that I'm busy. This week, make that step. If you have a calling in your heart of curiosity, then reach out to the parish office, reach out to us, comment below, tag us, all that fun stuff. We want to help you get involved. I think we're all so passionate about being really a part of the St. Joseph community. So that's our challenge.
Yes.
Every single viewer, every single person out there, if it feels even remotely called, take that step.